reflects spirit. It teaches us something. Everything out there can teach us something. There's an easy way and there's a difficult way to learn. And if we're talking about the light, I'm going to do the light first, even though it's last, because I'm backwards sometimes, because it's going to come up later on. Now, if we want light in the room, we have to find the way to the source of the light switch, and then we've got our light. But if we are caught up in a lot of things that the world catches us up on, such as fear and frustrations and all the things that clog up our minds, well, I've got to go this way because the switch to the light is over here. So I found the light, but it took me a little longer, like 71 years. Because I didn't know there was a shorter way. And then we were sitting out on the porch this morning, and I had my feet up on the table, don't tell anyone else. And I'm looking out at the backyard, and I see these vines all covering the top of the tree out there. Well, I see weeds, Al sees flowers. So I see these weedy vines covering the top of the tree, and I said, I gotta go out there and cut those down. I don't know, that's not gonna work. You've got to get to the root, and you've got to dig the root up. Or you're just gonna grow the same vine, and it's gonna irritate you just as much as it does now. And I thought, that's what we have to do with everything else. That's what we have to do to get to the light. The way is not in the sky, the way is in the heart. We go off on tangents, and we try to find the way. And it doesn't happen, because we are lost, mostly in fear. Whatever the religion or whatever the way is, all are a way of life based on the training of the mind. From the time we grow up to the time we get older, our mind is being trained. But we have to get to a place where we start training our own mind. And I said to myself, who is the designator anyway? Who is it that that should tell us how we should live or which way we should go? Who can we believe? When our way is unknown. Your way is unknown to mine. Your agreed upon path and your commitment and your plan here is not known to me. So I can't give you direction. We can get together like this, which is wonderful. And we can talk about this, but we all have a different path. And that's the glory of it. And when I was thinking about that, I was thinking about, here we are in this physical body. In this physical body is a spirit. Now we have a limitless spirit in a limited space. And I thought, no wonder I've got a personality disorder. There's two ships fighting for control of the wheel. And that's what gives us most of our problem. And we've got physical messages, we've got spiritual messages. I went into Home Depot the other day. I said to the fellow, I said, could you please tell me where organizing shelves are for kitchen cabinets? Oh yeah, it's in aisle 7. Oh, thank you. I'm going to go all the way down to aisle 7. Nothing about organization here. So I go up to the next person, I say, could you please tell me, down in aisle 12. So those directions were too good. I went into Target. Could you please tell me where ladies' lingerie? I end up in shoes. I mean, so if we listen to what's out here, we're not going to get where we're going. And it's almost the same spiritually, because it doesn't make any difference what religion or organization it is, but they all have their own way of traveling the path. And this is the way they want you to travel, which we can't do, because we are our own path. And that's what's so great and so exciting about life. I laugh when I hear about dual personalities, but it's true when you think about it. After dual personalities, we have the personality of the spirit and the personality of the human, which you can call ego, or that part of us which is flesh, and then we have the spirit. So the ego is saying, or the physical world is saying, follow me. The spirit is saying, don't be a fool. You've already seen where that leads. You got to go this way. You got to find the way. You got to find the shortest distance to where you want to go, because that's where you're going to find your authentic self. in all that you are and can be. How could, I read a book and this guy was talking about being conflicted. And I thought, being conflicted, that doesn't sound like a good thing, to be conflicted. But why wouldn't we be conflicted when you think about it? If we're spirit, unlimited, in a limited space, there's a conflict right there. Because the spirit wants to be free. It wants to expand. It wants to grow. And the only way we can do that is by our words and by our actions. This is when we become examples of what the spirit is. The way is through the heart. Or I say, or I was thinking, through the heart of the matter. I thought that was so cool because we're matter. So the way is through the heart of matter. That's how we get to the truth. That's how we get to the light. We can circumvent all these things. We can take in what the world is telling us. But until we get to the heart of the matter, we're not going to go too far. It's going to take us a bit longer to get there. So it's always easy to take the shortest route to the heart of the matter. Truth. Truth was the biggest packet. Oh, truth is scary, isn't it? It is to me. But you and I aren't here to pronounce what's right or wrong. We're only here to find the truth. Because what's right here on this side of the world is wrong to others on the other side of the world and vice versa. We're different. We're here to learn to be who we are and what we are through ourselves. We are here to remind ourselves that we're on the way to truth and on the way to light. Because the light is the ultimate. And we'll talk about what keeps us or slows us down from getting there. To understand the truth, we have to be spiritually free. And here's a word that people find difficult, people that I've talked to. And we have to be vulnerable. We have to be vulnerable. We have to be willing to open ourselves up to pain, to ridicule, to emotional disruption, to uncomfortableness. We have to be willing to bear what it is we feel, why we feel it, and what we need to feel, what we're getting, what we're not getting, that we're not living the way we feel we should live. I want to be happier. I want to do more. But we don't want to be vulnerable. I don't want to tell you that I hurt because that means I'm vulnerable. I shouldn't hurt. I shouldn't hurt. I don't want to tell you that I'm in pain, so if you want to come and visit me, I did this last week, sorry. Somebody called me, wanted to come and visit. And I was having a terrible problem with my back. So I said, gee, I've got a lot going on today, it's not a good day. Truth. So much for the truth. I didn't want to be vulnerable because I'm always healthy and I'm always strong and I'm always able to do what I want to do. So I'm not going to let anyone know that I sometimes don't have a good day pain-wise. We all do it, or most of us do it. We just don't want to open up that deep because we might be too human. I wonder. The only constant, if we look back from the beginning of times, we've always had idols. Idols made of stone, from the Greek mythology all the way up. Hitler, Saddam Hussein. Idols that even, well, Queen Elizabeth is an idol to the people of England. The Pope is an idol to some. And when these idols fall, or don't measure up to what we think it's all done and over. I'm sure when Jesus was crucified on the cross, there were some who, not enlightened enough, thought, this is it. When President Kennedy was shot, this is it. Everything's going to go down the drain. We fear being left without. But yet, when I was thinking more about it, fear in a way, is an idol that we worship. And why do I say that? Because we don't want to hear that. Why do I say that? I say that because it's one of those things that we haven't been able to live without. We haven't found a way to live without fear. We want to, but we haven't found it, because living without fear means I gotta be truthful. I've got to be vulnerable. I've got to open myself up. And that's not so easy to do. Skeletons are sometimes hard to show. Truth, I think we avoid a lot of times because it has a sting to it. If I tell you the truth, what are you going to think about me? If you say to me, hey, I went to the hairdresser's today. I like my hair. Maybe I hate it. So what am I going to say to this friend? I don't want to lose this friend. So I say, I get to thinking about that again. Because I would wiggle my way around things like that. And I thought, okay, what's the truth? Okay, Kathy, the truth is your perspective and your opinion is based on what you wouldn't want your hair to look like. That's why you don't like the way your hair looks. But how do we approach that? How do I like your hair? How do you like your hair? That's all that counts. If you love your hair, anything I might say to you is only out of my own perception, only what I think, something I wouldn't want to do. But if you like your hair, that's not what's important. It's living on your head. Those shoes, oh my God, do I like your shoes? I would be caught dead in them. Are we going to say that? No. Hey, those shoes are cool. I wouldn't wear them, but they look good on you. I love it. But we resist being truthful, and resistance comes in the form of thoughts. And resistance is a force of nature that we either receive from without or from within, which is again the ego telling us certain things that we should resist. Resist saying, oh, that's impossible, I can't do it, that's resistance. You want to do something, but you're saying it's impossible. You're resisting what you want to do. Gee, I'd love to go to the restaurant tonight with my husband or my partner. Oh, maybe he won't want to go. I'd really love to go though, but I won't say anything. Again, you're resisting doing what you'd like to do because you're afraid maybe he's too tired, she's too tired, maybe it's too late, whatever. We make up so much not to be truthful with how we feel and what we want to do. We truly do. Is being conflicted good or bad? That's up to each individual to decide. But I think it serves a purpose to be conflicted. Because being conflicted makes us choose. It motivates us to choose. And we're either going to choose from the inside out, from the essence of who we are, or we're going to choose from the outside in. And believe me, the results will show us and teach us which choice was right or which was not. When we talk about fear or procrastinating or resisting, they're all conflicts in our head, from outside or in. Somebody says something, we're conflicted. We say something to ourselves and we're conflicted. We don't even need anybody else saying anything. We can do that well enough our own. Brene Brown. I don't know if you've heard of Brene Brown.
Oh, yes.
I've seen her.
I just bought her book.
Did you?
Yes.
It's great. She was on Oprah a few weeks ago, and I love what she said. You can't get to courage without walking through vulnerability. And you know what? We can't get to the truth walking through fear. We can't do it. We cannot do it. It'll block us every step of the way and keep us from that which we seek after. Wayne Dyer, when we're talking about resistance, I got some examples here that are so funny and some not so funny, but they're good examples. I remember him telling the story, we're talking now painful resistance. When he was playing football, he fell and he hurt his knee. And it got worse and worse and worse. And then a boil came up on it. Oh oh, he said, it was so painful. He said, it was killing me every time I bent my knee or did anything. But I didn't want to go to the doctor. You know, I'm a guy, we don't want to go to the doctor. This will heal, I'll just keep something over, put salve on it, and it didn't. So he said, I go into the doctor, I sit down, the doctor says, what's up? And he said, well, I've got this sore on my knee, and it just isn't healing. He said, where is it? Right here. And he said, you know what he did next? He pushed on it. And he hurt me more. I told him where the pain was, and he caused more pain. And he said, I'm going to have to lance that to let it heal. I thought, sometimes we have to hurt to heal. Whether it's physically, whether it's mentally, emotionally, we have to hurt to heal. Because that would be the driving force to us making a choice away from that emotion or that pain. And then, that's it. That's Brene, isn't it? Let me catch up here. Then Henry Brandt. He's a Christian psychologist, and he counsels people one-on-one. And he used to say, I will counsel a patient or a client until I see the spiritual principle they're violating. And then I tell them. And you know, every time I tell them, they walk out and they leave. Why? Again, they don't want to be vulnerable. They can't open up to the pain. What is it going to make them look like? Is it going to make them look weak or like a failure? So they walk out. He said, but I have to practice that way, because if you're not going to listen to me when I tell you I see the principle you're violating and why you're sick, or why you're emotionally distressed or anxious or upset or worried or angry all the time, I can't do anything. I can't go beyond that. You have to find someone else that'll listen to you talk for 20 years. When I was in nursing, I was charge nurse on a dementia unit. And this is, the last one was emotional. Again, this is related to truth. And I used to watch my aides as they work with the patients. And I would get so upset. Because at that time I was nursing, it was, we had to deal with reality all the time. Reality. Well, if you have someone who's not in reality, how do you deal with it? And this is what the head aide at Random Place would say. You have to tell them what is reality and what is not. So one day this aide's going down, and this woman says, my husband's standing over there in the corner. Will you tell him that I want to talk to him? Mary, your husband's dead. He's not standing over in the corner. Oh, I would cringe. It's a reality, but it's not that person's reality. So I started holding meetings and talking to these kids that were working for me. I said, you know what? I said, the truth that we see is not our patient's truths. We have to walk into their truth, and we have to share it. And one day I was walking down the hall, and I'll never forget her. Mabel was sitting in a wheelchair, and she's going, come on, kitty, come on, kitty, kitty, kitty. And I walked up and I said, hey, Mary, what you looking for? She says, my kitty's over there, and I just wanted to sit on my lap. I said, just a minute, I'll get it. This is the kind of person I am, right? So I go over and I pick up this cat. I put it in her lap. She put her arms around that cat, and she just pat that cat. It was real to her. That was her reality. Is what we can't see not real? That is her reality. Because when you try to force a reality on someone who isn't there, we would end up on that unit with screaming all day, belligerence all day, angry all day, because we're trying to tell them this is what's real. Where you are is not real. So again, that's another sort of truth that we have to work with. Robert Brodt, I love this. I love this. He said, today I beat the truth to be kind. No regrets. For I am far surer of what is kind than what is true. Isn't that interesting? We're talking about the truth, but he beat the truth by being kind. So again I say, what is the truth? Your truth might not be mine. Mine not yours. Your reality not mine. Mine not yours. So kindness can be a truth in itself. If we want to look at it that way, it can be a truth in itself. I just love that. Marcus Aurelius said, everything we hear, this is so important, is an opinion, not a fact.
That's right.
Everything we see is a perspective and not a truth. If I say to you, and we just talked about it, if I say to you, I don't particularly like your hair, that's not her truth, but it's mine for me. So everything is perspective and opinion. I believe, in talking about kindness, that there are times when truth does trump kindness. It really does trump kindness. Maybe the cashier is pretty nasty and having a rough day. But rather than saying, boy, you're nasty today, look at you. I just want to get my groceries and get out of here. I don't need your attitude. Hi. You look kind of down. You doing okay? All right. But just something other than pointing out the frailty or the weakness. A kindness. Just a kindness. The light. I looked up something in the Jewish tradition that I loved. Light is the genesis of the world. The primary utterance of creation is let there be light. The Midrash asks, where was light created from? And the answer is whispered, God cloaked himself in a white shawl, and the light of its splendor spread throughout the world. In other words, light, I like this the best, light fundamentally does not belong to this world. It is rather an emanation of a different essence from the other side of reality. And it's no different than saying, we are in this world, but we are not of this world. We are spirit and body, learning how to have harmony with the whole part and parcel of who we are, but never forgetting that we are spirit and more powerful than anything the body can accomplish or do. Buddha said, make yourself a light. Well, that was hard to do because it broke on me twice. But I made it anyway. Rely upon yourself. That's not always easy because I lose my keys and Al has to find them. But rely on yourself. Do not depend on anyone else. Learn to control your own mind. That is hard to do. But when we start to depend on other people and their ideas and their opinions, what we should say, do, be, or act, or behave, then what can happen is a codependency of two friends or two people, two partners, two husbands, whatever they are. A dependency. We have to use our own minds because that's where we're going to get where we're going. This is how we're going to get from the way to the truth, to love light. In Matthew, even Jesus said, you are the light of the world. We have such a hard time believing we're the light, but everybody's telling us we're the light because all we feel is this. He said, you're the light of the world. A city set on a hill can't hide its light. And in another place, he says, don't hide your light under a bushel. Jesus said, I am the way, the truth, and the light. And you will do more than I have done. You will do greater than I have done because we are one. But we can't believe that. To say that I am God is blasphemy. How dare I say I am God? But that's not an ego statement or an arrogance or anything like that. It's just saying that the I that dwells in me, that looks out through these eyes and thinks my thoughts and hears the sounds, is God. Is God. In Psalms, the unfolding of your words gives light. Yep. We either heal or hurt. The unfolding of our words. He said, you're all children of light. It's funny, he didn't say except for. He said, you're all children of light. Now, I'm sure there are many who would disagree with that when we see the Muslim countries and everything going on. But we're all children of light. What we do with that light, either it can remain a flicker and we never get it because we're never taught or shown, or it can become a flame and become a guide or an example for the flickers to follow. And then the last thing I want to say about, again, from the Jewish tradition, the Jewish tradition, the candle flame is also thought to be symbolically represent the human soul and serves as a reminder of the frailty and the beauty of life. The connection between the candle flames and the souls derives originally from the book of Proverbs. The soul of man is the candle of God. Like a human soul, flames must breathe, change, grow, strive against the darkness, and ultimately fade away. Thus, the flickering candlelight helps to remind us of the precious fragility of our life and the lives of our loved ones. Life that must be embraced and cherished at all times, just like the path and the truth and the light. Because if we live within if we can find a way to live within these three words, and I'm still trying to find a way, it's a wonderful place to be. It truly is a great place to be. And that's all I have to say. Thank you all.